Hello everyone, and let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront, and more importantly, should we worry about Star Wars Battlefront? Now, the system requirements were released for the PC today. Now, I should point out, when this video goes up, I am going to do beta. I'm going to do the beta. The beta starts... when does it start? It starts on the 8th. I thought it started on Monday, but it starts on Thursday, which is the 8th. So you can preload it on Origin from tomorrow, which is the... probably when this video goes out, which is the 7th, which is Wednesday. I'll put this video out probably on the Wednesday. That's when this video will go out. So you can preload the beta. Now, the PC system requirements, quite interesting reading. A lot of people panicking. A lot of people have took one number and panicked. Okay, they've panicked. And there's no need to panic. Don't panic. Okay, we'll run through the minimum and recommended system requirements, shall we? It does require the minimum requirements. Again, you need a 64-bit OS. No surprise these days. Most games are 64-bit. Windows 7 or later is the minimum. Your CPU is a Core i3 6300T or equivalent. Quite a low. It's quite low actually for a Core i3. They're not bad for gaming. 8GB of RAM, 40GB hard drive space. Again, we know this. The graphics requirements, Nvidia side, they recommend a GTX 660, 2GB, or Radeon HD 7850, 2GB. Again, that's pretty nice. DirectX 11 compatible, of course. These days, everything's DirectX 11. I wonder if they'll support DirectX 12 later on, because the recommended settings recommends Windows 10, 64-bit obviously, if it's going to use the 8GB of RAM. Recommends a Core i5 6600 or equivalent. I don't know where mine sits on that. I have an AMD FX8350. Recommend, this is the thing that everyone's getting upset about. The recommended RAM is 16GB. Okay, the minimum is 8GB. So if you've got 8GB, you should be okay. You should be fine, I would imagine. 8GB of system RAM, 16GB. I am running 16GB of system RAM, so I don't know. A lot of people are saying bad optimization about this. Again, the recommended graphics card is a GTX 970 or a Radeon R9 290. 4GB of VRAM those cards go for. Might have a bit of a whiff of Batman Arkham Knight, because that's what screwed Arkham Knight, was the VRAM was insane. Apparently it used 5.5 gigs of VRAM at high settings. Now, who the hell has 6 gigs of VRAM? You know, outside of the sort of enthusiast grade market, who in the consumer market has that much VRAM, really? Most in the consumer are 2 to 4GB. When we're talking about 1080p, 60 FPS gaming, those are, again, you're going to 4K or 1440p, 2K or 4K, then you need more VRAM, obviously, because textures are bigger. Okay, the higher the resolution you have, the bigger the textures. It's simple as that, really. Again, the bigger the texture file size is, so again, you need more VRAM. But Batman Arkham Knight, it's got a bit better, actually. Arkham Knight, you know, it's actually can get 40 FPS in the Batmobile on sort of high settings with the texture set to normal, because I only have 3 gigs of VRAM and it uses 2.9GB of VRAM, so we're just on the limit of my R9 280X, so just on the limit with that. If you want the textures up high, it uses 3.6GB of VRAM. Obviously it does stutter like crazy because you don't have enough RAM. Obviously it has to go and cache some of that textures, and again, you get massive pop-in. That's the problem with it, because again, you shouldn't be running it at that settings on my card. Having a 4GB card will help, but hopefully, I reckon it should get at least high at 60 FPS. Bear in mind that medium settings in the game will probably look better than the console version. Bear in mind it's going to run 1080p at 60 FPS on console, so, you know, I don't think it'll be that much of a strain to run on a lot of systems. My PC runs Battlefield 4. I can get between sort of 50 and 60 FPS at Ultra at 1080p. Dragon Age Inquisition, I can get 60 FPS at high settings. Battlefield 4, if I turn some of the settings down to high, if I turn the MSAA, turn the MS multi-sample anti-aliasing, if I turn that off, then I can get 60 FPS on Ultra. But if I, you know, turn a few of the effects down to high, and it'll stay about 60, although it is playable. I mean, it occasionally will dip to 40 if there's a lot of destruction going on. Multiplayer, just play it high because just want to stay at 60. Single player can play it ultra because the frame rate it sort of floats between 50 and 60. 40 if there's something intense going on, but it never really goes below 40. So that's, you know, that's playable. Playable ultra. You can pick whether you want to play it ultra or whether you want to play it high. It looks great at high, I think. Bear in mind that we say Dragon Age Inquisition and Battlefield 4 because of course it's running on Frostbite 3. So again, we compare it to those games. I don't have the latest game run. The last game to be released on Frostbite Engine 3 was Battlefield Hardline, which I don't have, so I don't know. Can't really comment on how that runs, but I've seen it running on PCs and it runs fine. It looks way better than the PS4 version running on PCs, and the system requirements for that weren't as high, but hopefully we get decent, because if you look at the low end settings, okay, always look at the lowest end ones to tell you how well optimized it is. Bear in mind, Batman Arkham Knight, they changed the graphics or the VRAM requirements 2 days before the game launched, from 2 GB on AMD to 3 GB. That's a concern. If they change, be concerned. Okay, so on PC at least, I don't think we should be concerned about it. I mean, apparently some people have said from some of the closed alphas and some of the closed betas that it is a bit buggy. That what we're expecting from a beta, we do expect connection issues. We're primarily not really beta testing the game, you're beta testing the servers. Okay, and it's mostly at their end, so you can't play offline, for example, but you can play on your own. So what I will do is I will look at the PC version. We'll take a look at it. I'll max it out, see if my PC can run it. I might take a stick of RAM out and see how well it runs with 8 GB of RAM. I might just pull out a little stick of RAM and try it with 8 GB and see if we can run it at ultra with 8 GB of RAM and see if they're bullshitting, because a lot of these high-end system requirements, a lot of them are kind of bullshit. I mean, I wish what they would put in their system requirements is what resolution that's running at, because obviously if it's running at 1080p, 1080p is quite a low resolution for a PC. You know, again, it's mostly consumer level that we're talking about here. 1080p 60 FPS is not a difficult target for a lot of modern graphics cards to hit. A lot of modern graphics cards are being designed to go beyond that. They're going to 4K. 4K is very much the future of PC gaming. That's where we're moving on to. 1080p 60 FPS is, you know, being left behind. Well, it's not really being left behind, but it's an easy target to hit. If that's your target for a PC, you can shop in the mid-range. You know, you can buy a PC, £500 to £700 will buy you that. If you're talking, you want to play at 4K, you're talking over £1,000, $1,000, definitely $1,500 maybe. You're looking in that range if you're buying a PC. But should we worry about it? I'd say wait until the beta. Even in the beta though, it's not going to be conclusive, because bear in mind, beta is beta, although it is only a month to release. So again, server stability we're not concerned about in the beta, because that's what we're testing realistically, but it'll be interesting to see how the game engine performs. I will do footage for you. I'll also get the PS4, maybe the Xbox One version. I don't have enough hard drive space on the Xbox One, but I'll certainly have a look at the PS4 version for comparison, just so we can do a little bit of comparisons of that. And yeah, we'll take a look at that, and certainly we'll have a look at Battlefront beta. I'm gonna play that over the next week, certainly. I'm looking forward to it though, but should we worry about it? I can't really say anything about the gameplay. I've only seen footage of it, and it does look pretty cool. It does look pretty cool, but we'll talk about that after we play the beta. But performance-wise, I think it'll be okay. What we don't want from it is a repeat of Battlefield 4's launch, or Beta Field as everyone called it. It was awful. I mean, I played it on PS4, and you were just rubber banding like crazy. Couldn't even register my Origin account, you know, for some weird reason. You can't link your Origin account to your PSN account, things like that. Just so many problems it had at launch. It would delete your save. I never really played it on PC, so I never really couldn't comment. Apparently it had a lot of crashing issues. A lot of people didn't like Battlelog. Battlelog is going. Thank God that's going, because there's nothing that you really, you know, there's nothing that PC gamers want more than firing up a browser and then having to browse matches. It was really annoying if you just wanted to change some settings. Say I want to log in and change some settings. I gotta fire up my browser, I gotta install this plugin, I gotta do all this. Just take me to the fucking game menu, and then you have to wait to get into the game and load up and test out all these settings. It's really a pain in the arse, to be honest with you. And I don't know what they're replacing it with, but hopefully it's going to be better. We'll find out in 2 days' time anyway. We'll find out in a few days with the beta. So anyway, does it change your opinion? What are you going to get Battlefront for? But it doesn't really change mine. I'm going to test it on all 3 platforms and then see which one. Probably get it on PC anyway, because I think we'll probably get it then. And hopefully have a little run at Battlefront. Should we say? I probably said Battlefield a few times rather than Battlefront. I get them mixed up. Essentially the same game. It's just Battlefield with, you know, Star Wars skin over it, really. But some of the modes look really cool. I quite like the look of the co-op survival mode. Might do a little bit of that. We'll certainly do a lot of streaming of that when it comes out. So anyway, that's all for this video. So thanks for joining me. And we'll see you again soon. And goodbye.